Of course, it is time for the Women Talk Show. And today I have an amazing guest, Klondike Kate. What's Klondike Kate, you say? Well, if you're from Edmonton, you know what that is. But if you're from anywhere else in Canada or in the world, you might not know. This lady has an amazing, amazing story. But before we get into this amazing guest of mine, I just wanted to point out that woo, the holiday season is in full swing. And next week, we have 4 events. We are going to be Monday in Strathmore, Tuesday, Okotoks and Kelowna, and Wednesday, we are at Calgary North. So if you like holiday stories, and I just love it because, you know, we start talking about our favorite food, the favorite gift you've ever had, the favorite moment. And sometimes it even gets a little sad because we all know during the holiday season, often people miss the people that have left this world. So we talk about that because I'm a true believer that you need to talk about everything, and it just helps you cope and heal and all that wonderful stuff. Okay, so before I bring my guest, now she's a professional singer. I'm not quite sure what's happening here. I had it on my phone. I gotta find it. There it is. She's a professional singer and turned realtor. Professional singer turned realtor. I like that. That's a good line. But I want to play a little bit of, she has a Christmas CD. Listen to this. Or maybe not.
Do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire. We'll make unafraid the plans that we laid, walking into wonderland.
And that's the lady right there. That is Susan Janzen. Well, that was like a couple of years back when she was Klondike Kate. She is truly an amazing lady. And now, not only is she, oh, there you are.
Woo, just like they're putting that one of me back that far back.
I know, but I just love your outfit. How are you, Susan Janzen?
I am so well. Thank you so much for having me this morning. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with this. What's that picture all about?
Oh, wow. That takes me back. That when I was a professional singer actually for 17 years before somebody approached a group I was with, the Edmonton Musical Theatre in the City of Edmonton, and they said, you girls can audition for Klondike Kate, but we've never had a local one, so don't expect to win, but it's good practice for you guys. That was kind of the intro to this thing. And I had been doing the Klondike Days for the 2 years prior, the Klondike music at the 700 wing, excuse me, and quite a few other places around town. Plus my mother had sung all Klondike stuff since the 60s and the 70s. So I was really familiar, and I loved it. So I thought I might as well audition. It'd be great. And I was 33 years old, and I auditioned.
You're 33 on that picture?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, you look like you're 17. Oh, you still look so young. Like, oh my gosh.
Thank you.
You have beautiful skin.
Yeah, so I was really pleased that I thought I'm just going to audition just to do it because it was good practice for me, and I'd been doing professionally anyway. Anyway, I won, and they called me in confidence. I had to sign a non-confidential agreement thing. They met me at the airport in private, these people, and saying, you cannot say anything. And so for 6 months, I couldn't tell anybody. And then I had all my costumes made personally for me. Every costume was made for me, and they're still in my closet. They're still here. They're gorgeous still.
Do you still fit?
I have all of them. So, and I've taken such good care of them. So it was so exciting. So I couldn't tell anybody, not even my family, until the big blast and day saying, local girl, finally Klondike Kate. So that was the 24th year of Klondike Days. And so then the second year I auditioned and I won it again. And then that was the year I was on the side of the buses with a big, you know, I was jumping out of a cake, 25 and did a lot of stuff. So for the 2 years, I had a great time.
Oh, that just sounds amazing. So what's Klondike Days and what's Klondike Kate? Like what's that all about? Right because now, a lot of people know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So it started in 62 and they thought, actually my mom went down to Cape Breton Island. And it was such a big hit. The theme of it, the Klondike Gold Rush, everyone had to come through Edmonton to go to the gold rush. And that was kind of the theme of it. But when it started in the 60s, everybody in the whole city was involved. It was the Klondike Days Association was the organizer of it. So they're the ones that did the bathtub races. You got prizes for decorating your bank or your storefront or anything. So everywhere you went in the city was Klondike. There was parades on every IGA store. There was everything. So when I did it, was that's what it was at the time. And then when I did it, it was starting to decline a bit because in this late 80s, we had a lot of more festivals competing. So then they wanted to just change it up a bit. So that's when I was there at the right time, right space, and it was awesome. So I won it. So, but the Klondike Days was meant, and it was, everyone knows Calgary Stampede, and Klondike Days wanted to say, hey, we're the capital city of Edmonton, or of Alberta, for heaven's sakes. We want to be on the map. So it actually did help us get on the map. Yeah.
So what do they do during the Klondike Days now?
Nothing. And what do they do now during Klondike Days?
Do they still have Klondike Days in Edmonton?
No. Quite a few years ago, the Klondike Days Association disbanded, so the city was now no longer in charge. They did events in Edmonton, but it was all everything but. And Northlands basically said, just come to the grounds, come for the rides. And they changed it to K Days. So it totally changes, and the management of it changed.
Oh,
and
that's
now,
kind of sad because. Yeah, that's something that would make you different. It's kind of,
So now if I meet anybody over 35 years old now, and you say Klondike Kate, they go, huh? What? What's Klondike? What? If you're over 40, you'll know who I am. If you don't know, you don't know who I am.
Oh, too funny. Well, I lived in Edmonton for a year and a half or so, in, I would say, 85-ish.
That's exactly what I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I knew you and I didn't even know.
I was in the grade. I was actually, and I did the IGA commercials. And those are the years that we were winning the Stanley Cup. So I was ready for IGA is lower prices. So I used to do that commercial. It was all over.
Yeah. So I probably saw you. Oh my gosh. I remember those days. That is when I fell in love with hockey. Actually, I was like a fanatic about the Oilers and Wayne Gretzky and the whole. I watched it.
Those guys are really nice guys too at the time, because they used to come to the Coliseum when I played upstairs in the lounge, and then when I got to do the anthem, I did it twice. I came out on the Stanley Cup and did as Klondike.
Like during the Stanley Cup, you sang the anthem.
Oh, how cool! It was like the semifinal. Like just before when we got into the Stanley Cup, that I sang it 2 years in a row. I sang the anthem, and I swear that's the scaredest I've ever been. The most.
That's a big crowd.
I've ever been. I got off when they rolled up the red carpet behind me and I left the ice. I took off my hat. I couldn't move. I was so nervous. But the good thing, I was nervous after. But it was really awesome for me.
Oh, how awesome that is! That do you have footage of that?
I do have some, yes. I have ITV sent me some stuff. I've got actually 3 boxes full of stuff. I have a lot of, and my mom at the time clipped everything out of every newspaper. So I have about four photo albums full of articles. And yeah, those were the days. Those were the days where just everywhere. Yeah.
So you've spoken at Women Talk, and we'll get into that story in a minute here because you spoke about your dad. But I just wanted to point out that I think you should share your story of those days with us, with photos and maybe a little bit of footage. It would be amazing. I would love to see all of this. So you were a professional singer for all those years. And I wanted you to sing this morning, but you said, I don't know.
I'm glad you played that little track. I really appreciated that, because this time of the morning, it's like I sound like a baritone. Like I wake up and people used to phone me in the morning and I go, hello. Because that's just.
I was just going to play. So last week you were in Edmonton, and this is what we sang. One of the ones.
Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you were there. From the bottom of my heart.
I can lip sync to this very
Yeah,
good.
you're very good at that. I love it.
So I've actually put the link for people if you want to get Susan's holiday CD.
Yeah, move over.
You can get it. The link is in the comments below. Just click on there and go get it. She has a ton of tunes. Actually, let me just bring that up here because I love that CD. And you know what's really funny is I was gonna play it and then I realized I don't have a CD player anymore.
Nobody does. Nobody does. I'm serious. Nobody. No. And then again, those people under 40. What's a CD player? Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's like, is that a coaster?
Is that like an LP? And now LPs are so great. Like LPs are the thing.
Yeah.
So now I have to go back in the studio, I guess, and do an LP. That would be amazing.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah,
They
I
look
have a
so
record.
good.
I do have a record that I made. Back an LP. I do have one actually. So,
How many CDs or
well,
albums?
I did one album with my duo Just Friends at the time, like in the 70s in 1978, actually. I was pregnant with my first son, with my son. And we recorded the studio and all the best players. Oh my God, like Brian Hughes, like all the players who are out there now and who are big, like are on my album because they were studio guys at the time. And so I'm just, there's so many. But then I just did another CD. I went to Hornby Island and created a CD called My Children. It's kind of like a lullaby. It's not all lullabies, but they're all related to children and raising children and having how your babies are your babies till they're 82, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
that kind of a CD. And then I did this Christmas one prior. So really only the three CDs.
So what do you do now? You're a Women Talk member, so you've shared a fabulous story, and again we'll get to it. But first, I want to see. So you're a realtor now.
So since 2003, I actually got an education after I quit being Klondike Kate, and I went to university. And I had married my husband Hank Janzen in '87, and so in '89 I went to university, got my degree in special education. So I was a teacher actually for 6 years. Yeah. So I would love.
Look at you.
I love my kids. I was severe needs were my kids, and they were secondary. So I taught grade 7 to 12, and that was really,
Teenagers.
yeah. And my kids at that time, Christopher and Candace, were actually in grade 7 and 8 at the time. So I related. I loved them. It wasn't an issue for me, but I love going to university. When I was telling my husband, I said, well, I want to get my master's. I mean, I love this space. No makeup. You just can wear your blue jeans and everyone's, it's such a great place to learn. The university was amazing. And then I said to my husband one day, I said, I think I can get my master's. And he goes, go to work, just make some money, just go to work. He had 3 boys. I had a boy and a girl, and we were raising granddaughter, and we were just like, just go make some money, honey. So that's what I did for 6 years. And then that's the downturn. 2002, 2003, the Edmonton, it's kind of like now the Edmonton public education was not hiring, and I was a special ed teacher, and there's just no slots. And the board said to me, you've got a great resume here. Your file looks great, but there's no positions open for you. So I kind of started thinking, I got to do something. So that's when I thought, if I get my real estate license the first time I try it, I will maybe consider doing that. And it happened. I passed the first time. So since 2003, I've been a realtor.
And you're quite successful.
I was top 5 in my office this month. But I still try to sing as much as I can. I do a lot of other stuff still. Yeah.
I know, you're so fabulous. So let's talk a little bit about that story that you shared at Women Talk, because it's a very interesting story because so you had a difficult childhood, would you call it?
To say the least. Yeah, that's a nice
Tell
way.
me a little bit about your childhood and then what happened.
Okay, how much time do we have, Bridget? We'll have to keep.
We have another 5 minutes or so.
Oh, okay, I'll make it really short. So I was just, my mom was a singer, professional singer, but she was a single mom, and so she had a really tough time in the 50s, and so she took care of me the best that she could, but she really was unable to care for me well. So I was a ward of the government for a while. I was in foster homes for a while. I was kind of raised by a lot of different people, and on and off. I did live with my mom every chance that she got to take me in. But then in junior high, she sat me down when I was 13 years old and said, "Here's a picture of your dad." And I was like, "Oh." I honestly didn't know I had one of those. I was the only kid that didn't have a dad, and people would ask at school about it, but I never knew what that was even. I never had a man in my life. My mom was never with a man, and plus the foster homes I was in, I just didn't have a dad ever. So when I found that I actually had a real one, I started looking for him when I was 13, and then I had his picture and his name. That's all I knew. So I've been looking all this time, and but again, there's no DNA back then. There's no anything that I could use, like go to find him. And so when I did my DNA, it's been about 4 years ago, I did the 23andMe, and I spit in the tube at ancestry.com just to be safe. And I actually have found somebody said, "This is your uncle, and he just died. His name is Lauren Green in Calgary." And so I phoned this guy, this obituary, and the son on there, and I said, "I'm Sue Whalen. I don't know my dad, but I know his name is Russell Green, and this is my story." And he goes, "Oh, that's my uncle." It's like,
Wow.
So actually, after literally looking for 50 years, I couldn't believe it. My jaw dropped. He says, "Hey, but your dad died 5 years ago. I'll send you his obituary if you want." So I don't know. I don't know how to explain that in words. But when you're, it's like racing, and then you finally get to the finish line. It's like you just drop dead, right? It's so amazing. But anyway, the good news and the wonderful news is that I got my dad's number, and all on the obituary there were 4 children. I thought, I'm an only child. I've never had siblings. Like, what is that like? I've never been a sibling. And so there were 4 kids' names on his obituary, and I phoned the oldest. And I sent him a text message, a private message saying, "I don't want to upset you or cause any problems, but I think you're my brother. My dad is this, and this is my name, and I was born in Calgary, and this is the year." And I said, "Can you help me with this?" And then he wrote back. It took 15 minutes for those dots to go. 15 minutes. They were dotting. I'm thinking, "Oh my God!"
Just sitting there watching the little dots move.
I was freaking out. I tell you, I phoned my daughter, going, "Oh my God, what do I do? What do I do?" So then it popped back up, and the message read, "Hey sis. We knew about you, but we didn't know how to find you. Thank you for finding us."
Oh my gosh. Did you just like crumple and
I
start
did.
crying?
I cried like a baby. And so that was actually exactly 2 years ago, November 25th, 2 years ago. And so
Wow.
since then, I've gone out to Winnipeg to see my sister. I've gone and my brother there, and there's a sister here in Edmonton, go figure. And there's a brother in Lacombe. So I have seen them all, and we actually have a group chat now. Every morning we say good morning to each other, and every night we say good night to each other. So
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I love that.
They are so beautiful, and they're so loving, and they're so accepting. And when none of us really know how that happened, but we know we all share the same father. And just for me to find that after all these years, I don't know.
You know what? You've just inspired me. You just inspired me. I'm going to start a chat group with my family.
Yeah, I
And
love
to
it.
just say, "Hey, how are you?"
And we don't even, sometimes if there's like, I'll say, "Hey, my son's birthday was last week." They'll go, "Hey, happy birthday, Chris." Like, but we don't delve deep unless we need to. I mean, so that opportunity, but it's so neat. I go to bed sometimes, and I go, "Oh, I forgot to say goodnight." And I run my phone and I go, "Night all, heart." And then I go to bed. I mean, it's just, that connection is so powerful.
And you know what? It's appreciation because you didn't have it for so many years.
I really, yeah. And
How
then,
did it feel like the first time you hugged one of your siblings? Like touched them?
that was a dream that I always had, was me running to my dad and him hugging me. That was a thing that I kept in my brain. And that's why I never stopped looking. I just really felt like that's what I wanted. I just needed that. And that never happened. But when I hugged Rick and Della and Linda and Randy, it was just like as close as I could get to my dad. It was amazing. And they look like him. We all look alike. It's so weird looking at people. We kept staring at each other, and they're going, "Oh, sorry." And they're going, "No, it's okay." I'm sorry. I've never had people that actually look like me before. This is so weird. So, and here I am, like, how am I here when this happens? So it's really cool.
And that was like right before Christmas too. So you must have been on a high for that holiday.
Yeah. Well, I was on the phone with all of them for, quite a bit. And then I went out to Winnipeg last year to see my sister. And of course, saw Linda here, and Randy came, Rick came to Edmonton and stayed with us. And we got all my kids to meet him. And so this is a good news story. I mean, this is something that sometimes people find their siblings or find relatives and after a lifelong search, and they're not happy with what they find. And I'm so sorry for that. But in my particular case, it was like, this is heaven. It couldn't have been better, really. And then last January, I had a lady send me the same email I sent Rick saying, hey, I don't want to bother you, but how come it says you're my half sister in DNA? And I was like, so I actually have one more half sister that my mother, and I phoned Rick and the siblings to tell them. I go, well, was it Dad? And I went, no, it was not. It was my mom, and she told me she had a baby in 1952 that she had to give up right from the hospital. She didn't even name. She knew it was a girl. Didn't even name her. I don't know what the circumstances were. My mom never talked about it, unfortunately. But she did tell me that. So when this lady called me, it's like, well, my mom did have a baby in December. When were you born? She goes December. Oh my God. So now I have this beautiful half sister named Lenny that I've been in touch with since January for just about a year now. So
isn't it good in this day and age now? Like all these lost family members, it's going to become so much easier to all find each other.
And I think it's positive in that if you can make it positive and if your expectations are okay. Like I really, honestly, I did not want anything. I didn't need anything. I didn't need a daddy. I wasn't looking for money. I wasn't looking for anything other than information. So and as long as your intention is right, then, what you find is just, well, for me anyway, it was wonderful. Wonderful. So I'm a happy half sister of 6 people with 6 people now.
That is such a beautiful, that's a perfect story for the holiday season. Sorry, I'm just moving my mic around.
Okay.
Like beautiful. So are you getting together during the holiday this year?
We're all working on it. Yeah. Oh, of course.
It's hard. Everybody's so busy, and it's hard sometimes to find room for everything.
Yeah. We make plans during the year when everyone can do it. You know what I mean? Like it's just, but again, like we talk every day, and so it's really kind of cool that way. So yes, thanks. Yeah,
cool. Well, for those of you who have family and have known your family your whole life, there's a great lesson here for you. We take it for granted sometimes, so it's really refreshing to hear a story from somebody like you, Susan, who searched for, what did you say, 50 years?
Yeah.
Jeez. You're 30 something, like seriously, woman, you're so beautiful.
I know I'm old, but I feel really good. I feel good.
And let me add that if you would like to meet Susan in person, come to Women Talk Edmonton, because Susan is one of our main character up there, and she'll do the motivational talk quite often and share stories. Susan is a Women Talk member. Yes. And if you would like to be on the show or participate in all of this, go to womentalk.ca/membership. Go check it out. We feature you on our show. You get to speak at all of our locations. It's a beautiful drive. No, sorry, I got to get there. It is. Yeah. Here we go. So this is become a Women Talk member, and that's how you get all featured in everything that we do. Susan, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's a beautiful holiday story.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This is great. Always fun talking to you, Bridget.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you and your family. And go buy her CD. It's online. You can get the digital copy. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, wait. I almost forgot. Before we go, on top of everything else, you have written in multiple books, like 4 books, did you say?
Well, my husband and I put out this Living and Loving and Its Success in a Blended Family way back. Goes way back to like 1990. Wow. Then I did this with a business book about no BS, about what it takes to be in a successful business. And then I was happy to be involved in the Sacred Hearts Rising group. I love those ladies. And
this is one in that first one as well.
Yeah. And what's interesting is excuse my, I was itching my nose. Wrote my piece in here. This is my history on this one. Was I just wrote my piece, sent it in, submitted it, and then that 2 days later is when I got the call and I talked to Rick and I found my dad. So it was like, hey, I phoned the publisher, stop the presses. I found my family. I mean, because I had done this, the whole thing was be still and know. I said, I know I never know my dad. I'll never figure out where I'm from. I'll never know these things, but I'm okay with it. And I called my chapter Be Still. And it wasn't even days later that all this happened. And it was like, so then when I went in the second book, I went, hey, I found him. I found him.
The story of the story, the rest of the story.
Isn't that great? So that was really, because it was honestly heartfelt. Be still and know that where you are, you're meant to be. And if things are supposed to happen, they would have happened. And things happen the way they need to happen. Maybe I wasn't ready to meet my dad, but I was sure ready to meet my siblings, and I sure love them. Yeah.
So amazing. Wow. Good things happens to good people.
When it's supposed to happen, we have to be still and be patient.
So Merry Christmas to you and your family. I love you. I'm so proud to have you on our tribe because you're beautiful inside and out.
Oh, you too. Thank you, Bridget. Love you too. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.